geography of Greece played a pivotal role in shaping the trajectory of its civilization. Nestled in southeastern Europe, Greece is characterized by its small territory relative to the expansive lands of Asia. The country's topography is dominated by rugged mountains and hills that weave through narrow plains. This fragmented landscape naturally divided the Greek mainland into isolated regions, fostering a sense of independence among its inhabitants. Rather than developing a unified national identity, these isolated communities evolved into independent city-states, each with its own government, culture, and ambitions. The fragmented geography encouraged political fragmentation, leading to fierce rivalries that would later fuel both conflict and innovation. In contrast to the hindrances posed by its mountainous terrain, Greece's proximity to the sea provided a vast avenue for expansion and interaction. The Mediterranean Sea was not a barrier, but a conduit that facilitated trade and cultural exchange. The Greeks, recognizing the sea's potential, developed into expert seafarers, establishing colonies and extending their influence across the Mediterranean basin. This maritime prowess allowed them to interact with other civilizations, absorbing and contributing to the cultural tapestry of the ancient world. The sea routes they established became highways of commerce and communication, linking the Greek world with distant lands and peoples. Economic development in ancient Greece was deeply influenced by its geography. The fertile plains of regions like Thessaly were ideal for agriculture, allowing the cultivation of grains and the raising of horses. Meanwhile, the coastal regions capitalized on fishing and trade, boosting their economies. Unlike civilizations that relied heavily on agriculture, the Greeks diversified their economic activities, engaging in trade, craftsmanship, and maritime pursuits. This economic diversity was a direct result of their geographical setting, which offered varied resources and opportunities. The Mediterranean Sea was the lifeblood of Greek expansion. It served as a vast, interconnected network that linked the Greek world to other civilizations. The Greeks excelled in navigating these waters, thanks to their advanced shipbuilding techniques and understanding of maritime conditions. Their ships, known for their speed and maneuverability, enabled them to explore, trade, and establish colonies far from their homeland. The Greeks' mastery of the sea facilitated the establishment of colonies in places like Sicily, southern Italy, and the coast of Asia Minor. These colonies were not mere extensions of Greek city-states, but became vibrant centers of Hellenic culture. They played a crucial role in the diffusion of Greek language, art, and political ideas. Through these colonies, the Greeks also engaged in cultural exchanges with neighboring civilizations, adopting foreign influences and adapting them to their own cultural framework. Maritime trade routes established by the Greeks became arteries of economic prosperity. Goods such as olive oil, wine, pottery, and textiles were exchanged for grain, metals, and luxury items from Egypt, Persia, and the Near East. The wealth generated from trade supported the growth of cities and the patronage of the arts, leading to a flourishing of Greek culture. The Mediterranean Sea was not just a means of economic gain, but a stage for the Greeks to project their influence and share their achievements with the wider world. Greece's geography was marked by a series of distinct regions, each with its own identity and historical significance. The Peloponnese, located south of the Gulf of Corinth, was home to the powerful city-state of Sparta, known for its militaristic society and austere lifestyle. Sparta became a dominant force in Greek affairs, The Peloponnese was also the site of the ancient Olympic Games, held at Olympia, which fostered a sense of shared Greek identity through athletic competition. To the northeast of the Peloponnese lay Attica, the region surrounding Athens. Athens emerged as a center of culture, philosophy, and democracy. Its contributions to art, literature, and political thought had a lasting impact on Western civilization. Boeotia, located northwest of Attica, was home to Thebes, another influential city-state with its own rich history and cultural achievements. Further north, Thessaly was known for its fertile plains, ideal for agriculture and horse breeding. This abundance of resources supported a thriving society. North of Thessaly was Macedonia, a region that would rise to prominence under the leadership of Philip II and his son, Alexander the Great. Macedonia's eventual dominance over Greece marked a new era in Greek history, characterized by the spread of Hellenic culture across the known world. Long before the rise of the Greek city-states, the island of Crete was home to the Minoan civilization, Europe's first advanced society. Emerging around 3500 BCE, the Minoans developed a sophisticated culture that thrived on maritime trade and artistic expression. Their civilization was centered around grand palatial complexes, with the palace at Knossos being the most renowned. The Minoans excelled in various forms of art, including pottery, frescoes, and jewelry, showcasing their artistic prowess and appreciation for beauty. Their trade networks extended to Egypt and the Near East, facilitating cultural exchanges that enriched Minoan society. The Minoans advanced urban centers and innovative architecture, including elaborate drainage systems, set them apart as pioneers of early European civilization. Despite their achievements, the Minoans eventually succumbed to a series of natural disasters and invasions. Around 1450 BCE, the palace at Knossos was destroyed, marking the decline of Minoan power. By 1100 BCE, the Minoans had faded into history, leaving behind a legacy that would influence the Greek tribes on the mainland. In the wake of the Minoans, the Mycenaean civilization emerged as a dominant force in the Aegean region. Named after the city of Mycenae, the Mycenaeans were known for their militaristic culture and architectural achievements. Their society was structured around fortified palatial centers, protected by massive limestone walls known as Cyclopean masonry. The Mycenaeans were part of the Indo-European language family and shared cultural ties with other Indo-European groups. They expanded their influence through military campaigns and trade, establishing a network of alliances across Greece. Unlike the Minoans, the Mycenaeans were bred for warfare, and their martial prowess enabled them to conquer and dominate the Aegean. The Mycenaeans are perhaps best remembered through the epic tales of Homer. According to legend, King Agamemnon led the Mycenaeans in the Trojan War, a conflict that has captured the imagination of generations. Despite their achievements, the Mycenaeans eventually succumbed to a series of invasions and internal strife. By 1100 BCE, their civilization had collapsed, ushering in the Greek Dark Ages. The Greek Dark Ages, spanning from approximately 1100 to 800 BCE, were a period of decline and transformation. Following the collapse of the Mycenaean civilization, Greece experienced a significant population decline and a loss of urban centers. The once thriving cities were abandoned, and rural life became the norm. During this enigmatic period, much of the cultural and technological advancements of the Mycenaean era were lost. However, it was also a time of transition that set the stage for a cultural revival. By the end of the Dark Ages, agriculture had rebounded, and trade began to flourish once again. The introduction of iron tools and weapons marked a technological advancement that would shape the future of Greek society. It was during this period that the Greeks adopted the Phoenician alphabet, a transformative development that facilitated literacy and communication. This innovation paved the way for the resurgence of Greek culture and the eventual rise of city-states that would dominate the classical era. The literary works of Homer, the legendary poet, played a crucial role in preserving the cultural heritage of the Mycenaean age. His epic poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey, captured the imagination of the Greek people and served as a bridge between the past and the present. These stories, rooted in oral tradition, depicted the heroism and values of the Mycenaean era while resonating with the societal conditions of the Dark Ages. The Iliad recounts the tale of the Trojan War, highlighting the valor and struggles of Greek heroes like Achilles. The Odyssey follows the adventures of Odysseus as he journeys home after the war, facing numerous trials along the way. Through these narratives, Homer conveyed themes of courage, honor, and the pursuit of excellence, values that became integral to Greek identity. Although Homer is not regarded as a historian, his works provided the Greeks with a sense of unity and a shared cultural heritage. The epic tradition laid the foundation for Western literature and continues to inspire and captivate audiences to this day. Central to Greek culture was the concept of a rete, an ideal that emphasized striving for excellence and achieving one's full potential. This notion permeated various aspects of Greek life, from education to athletics, and was depicted prominently in Homeric literature. A rete was seen as the hallmark of a hero, a quality that distinguished individuals who overcame adversity and achieved greatness. In Greek education, the pursuit of a rete was a fundamental goal. Young men were taught to develop their physical, intellectual, and moral virtues, embodying the ideal of the well-rounded individual. This emphasis on excellence extended to women as well, although their paths to achieving a rete were often different, focusing on domestic skills and virtues. The legacy of a rete continues to influence Western thought, inspiring generations to strive for personal and societal greatness. It reflects the enduring impact of Greek culture, a civilization shaped by its unique geography and the indomitable spirit of its people. In the tapestry of ancient Greek culture, the virtues of loyalty and household management were threads that held the fabric of society together. Penelope's unwavering fidelity to Odysseus, despite his prolonged absence during the Trojan War and his arduous journey home, is a testament to the ideals esteemed by the aristocratic classes. Her story, immortalized in Homer's epic, the Odyssey, resonated deeply with the Greek people. It was not merely a tale of personal devotion, but also a reflection of societal values that placed immense importance on the stability and integrity of family units. In the context of ancient Greece, the household, or oikos, was the cornerstone of social and economic life. Women, while excluded from public political life, were entrusted with the vital role of managing these households. They were expected to maintain the home, rear the children, and ensure the continuity of the family line. Penelope's cunning and resourcefulness in warding off suitors who sought to usurp Odysseus's place is emblematic of the intelligence and strength women were required to exhibit within their domestic spheres. Homer's epics, including the Iliad and the Odyssey, were not just stories but educational tools that reinforced these cultural norms. Through oral tradition and later written texts, these narratives instilled a sense of moral duty and virtue among the Greeks, influencing their views on loyalty, honor, and the sacredness of marriage. Penelope's steadfastness became an ideal, her actions a guide for women, navigating the challenges of maintaining a household amidst adversity. As Greece transitioned from the Dark Ages into the Archaic period, a significant structural revolution unfolded. Small villages evolved into independent city-states, or polis, marking the dawn of a new era. The polis became the defining feature of Greek civilization, a political and communal hub where citizens gathered for governance, worship, and commerce. The Acropolis in Athens, perched atop a hill, served as a central gathering place for political and religious assemblies, symbolizing the unity and identity of the city-state. Meanwhile, the agora functioned as a bustling marketplace and social center, where citizens engaged in trade, discussion, and debate. Each polis was unique, varying in size and structure, yet all shared the fundamental principle of communal identity and shared governance. Athens, one of the largest city-states, boasted a population that would grow to between 250,000 and 370,000 by the end of the Archaic period. The political life of these city-states was characterized by inequality, with adult males enjoying full citizenship rights, while women, children, slaves, and foreigners had limited or no political agency. This stratification underscored the responsibilities of citizenship, where the needs of the polis often took precedence over individual desires. The concept of citizenship was intrinsically linked to the identity of the polis, fostering a sense of belonging and duty among its members. The social fabric of ancient Greek city-states was woven with distinct hierarchies and roles. Citizenship was a coveted status, conferring rights and responsibilities that shaped the civic life of the polis. Adult males, as full citizens, participated in political decision-making, contributing to the governance and defense of their city-state. In contrast, women were largely confined to the domestic sphere, their citizenship rights limited by societal norms. Children, too, were considered citizens, but lacked the agency of their adult counterparts. Slaves and foreigners, integral to the economy and daily functioning of the city-states, were excluded from political life entirely. These hierarchies, while creating a structured society, also fostered tensions and conflicts. The prioritization of the polis over the individual was a double-edged sword, promoting community solidarity, but also leading to inter-city rivalries and conflicts. As Greek city-states expanded their influence across the Mediterranean, these social dynamics played a crucial role in shaping their interactions with other cultures and regions. The evolution of military tactics in ancient Greece was marked by the development of the hoplite phalanx, a formation that revolutionized warfare in the region. The hoplites, heavily armed infantry soldiers, fought in tight, disciplined units, their shields interlocking to form a formidable wall of defense. This formation required cooperation and trust among soldiers, emphasizing the communal ethos of Greek society. The phalanx democratized the military, allowing farmers and artisans to join the ranks of the army if they could afford their own armor. This shift reduced the reliance on cavalry and elevated the status of foot soldiers, who now fought alongside aristocrats, blurring social distinctions in the context of battle. The hoplite phalanx became a staple of Greek military strategy, its success dependent on the discipline and unity of its soldiers. This innovation not only strengthened Greek armies, but also reflected broader societal changes, where the collective good often outweighed individual ambitions. Between the 700s and 500s BCE, Greek colonization spread Hellenic culture across the Mediterranean, establishing cities in southern Italy, France, Spain, Africa, and the Black Sea region. This expansion was driven by overpopulation and economic opportunities, as Greeks sought new lands to cultivate and trade routes to explore. Each colony, while maintaining political independence, maintained cultural ties to its mother city or metropolis, fostering a shared Greek identity across vast distances. Colonization facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and cultural practices, enriching both the colonies and their parent cities. The colonies supplied the Greek mainland with resources such as metals, grains, timber, and slaves, in exchange for wine, olive oil, and pottery. This trade network bolstered the economies of both the colonies and the metropolis, creating a web of interconnected communities that shared common language, religion, and customs. The cultural diffusion resulting from colonization not only reinforced Greek identity, but also contributed to the richness and diversity of Mediterranean civilization as a whole. The rise of tyrants in Greek city-states marked a significant shift in political power, challenging the dominance of aristocratic elites. These rulers, often supported by the emerging merchant and peasant classes, gained power through unconventional means, bypassing traditional hereditary succession. Unlike the modern connotation of tyranny, these leaders were not necessarily oppressive. Instead, they implemented reforms that benefited the lower classes and challenged aristocratic privilege. The construction of new marketplaces, temples, and infrastructure under tyrannical rule often improved the lives of ordinary citizens, boosting trade and economic activity. However, the legitimacy of tyrants was frequently questioned, leading to their eventual downfall, as Greeks sought more stable and democratic forms of governance. In some city-states, the fall of tyrants paved the way for the development of democracy, where citizens participated directly in political decision-making. In others, oligarchies or other non-democratic systems persisted, reflecting the diverse political landscape of ancient Greece. This period of political experimentation and transition played a crucial role in shaping the governance and social structures of Greek city-states, setting the stage for future developments in Western political thought. Sparta, known for its formidable military prowess, underwent significant transformations to become a dominant force in ancient Greece. Located in the Peloponnese, Sparta's expansion over land, particularly the conquest of Messenia, laid the foundation for its military state. The subjugation of the Messenians as helots, or state-owned serfs, provided the Spartans with the labor necessary to sustain their society. The constant threat of helot revolt necessitated a militarized society, where every Spartan male underwent rigorous training from a young age. The legendary lawgiver Lycurgus is credited with implementing the reforms that shaped Spartan society, emphasizing discipline, austerity, and communal living. The Agoge Sparta state-sponsored education system trained boys in military skills, survival tactics, and loyalty to the state. This intense training regime forged a warrior class that prioritized the collective good over individual desires, ensuring Sparta's survival and dominance in the region. Spartan society, while admired for its military achievements, was also marked by strict social structures and limited personal freedoms, highlighting the complex interplay between security and liberty in ancient Greece. As the chapter draws to a close, the enduring themes of loyalty, civic duty, and the pursuit of excellence remain central to the narrative of ancient Greece. These ideals, woven into the fabric of Greek society, continue to inspire and challenge us to this day. reminding us of the rich legacy of a civilization that shaped the course of history. With a deeper understanding of these foundational elements, we are now prepared to explore the complexities of Greek life and culture as we journey further into the annals of history. In the heart of ancient Greece, the formidable city-state of Sparta stood as a beacon of military prowess and societal discipline. The Spartan way of life was intricately woven with the threads of warfare, a legacy that began in the tender years of childhood and extended well into the twilight of one's life. At the core of this militaristic society was the agoge, a rigorous training program designed to mold young Spartan boys into elite warriors. From the age of 7, boys were removed from their homes and placed under the supervision of the state. Here, they were subjected to a harsh regimen that included physical training, survival skills and discipline, all intended to cultivate resilience, endurance, and loyalty to Sparta. This system not only prepared them for the battlefield, but also instilled in them the values of courage, sacrifice, and camaraderie. The agoge was more than just a training ground. It was the crucible in which the Spartan identity was forged. Boys were taught to endure pain, hunger, and the elements, learning that hardship was a part of life, and death in battle was the ultimate honor. The helot system, a crucial aspect of Spartan society, supported this lifestyle by providing the necessary labor to sustain the Spartan economy. Helots were serfs who worked the land, allowing Spartan citizens to focus exclusively on military training and governance. This system created a stark contrast between Spartans and other Greek city-states, where citizens typically engaged in various professions. In comparison to Athens, renowned for its philosophical and artistic pursuits, Sparta's singular focus on military excellence set it apart as a society where the art of war was the highest calling. While other city-states celebrated intellectual achievements, Spartans believed that true fulfillment came from serving the state through martial prowess. This unwavering commitment to military excellence not only defined Spartan culture, but also ensured its dominance on the battlefield for centuries. In the austere landscape of Spartan society, women held a unique position that contrasted sharply with their counterparts in other Greek city-states. Spartan women were granted a degree of autonomy and influence that was rare in the ancient world. Due to the prolonged absence of their husbands, who were often engaged in military service, Spartan women assumed responsibilities that would typically fall to men. They were allowed to own and inherit land, a privilege that empowered them economically and socially. In fact, at one point, women owned nearly 40% of Sparta's land, a testament to their significant role in maintaining the state's wealth and stability. Spartan women were expected to be strong, both physically and mentally, to bear healthy children who would become the next generation of warriors. They participated in physical training, often exercising in the nude, which was believed to prepare them for motherhood and instill in them the same values of strength and resilience as their male counterparts. The societal expectation was that they would raise their children with a focus on duty and loyalty to Sparta, teaching them that dying in battle was a noble fate and a testament to their worth. Unlike Athenian women, who were largely confined to domestic roles and had limited rights, Spartan women wielded considerable influence. They could participate in public life and were known to be outspoken, often voicing their opinions on political and military matters. Their unique status allowed them to shape Spartan society in subtle yet profound ways, contributing to its stability and continuity. The political landscape of Sparta was as unique as its societal structure, characterized by a complex system of checks and balances that ensured stability and continuity. At the helm of this oligarchic system were two kings, each hailing from a different royal family, a dual leadership model that aimed to prevent any single ruler from gaining too much power. These kings were responsible for leading Spartan troops into battle and performing religious duties, embodying the dual role of warrior and priest. Complementing the dual kingship was the Council of Elders, or Gerousia, consisting of 28 members over the age of 60, alongside the two kings. This council was tasked with proposing laws and advising the kings, drawing upon their wisdom and experience to guide the state. The Ephors, a group of 5 magistrates elected annually by the assembly, wielded considerable power, overseeing the education system and acting as a check on the king's authority. These magistrates were responsible for upholding the laws and ensuring that Spartan society remained true to its values. The ecclesia, or assembly of citizens, played a crucial role in this political structure. Composed of male Spartans over the age of 30, the ecclesia could not debate, but voted on proposals presented by the Gerousia. This assembly provided a voice for the citizens, allowing them to participate in the governance of their state, while maintaining the oligarchic nature of Spartan rule. Sparta's political system was designed to perpetuate its military ethos, discouraging the pursuit of philosophy, literature, and the arts. This focus on martial excellence was reflected in the state's policies, which restricted travel and limited contact with foreigners, fearing that new ideas might disrupt the delicate balance of Spartan society. As Sparta solidified its military dominance, it sought to extend its influence beyond its borders, leading to the formation of the Peloponnesian League around 550 BCE. This alliance united various city-states in the Peloponnesian Peninsula under Spartan leadership, creating a formidable coalition that could counter external threats and maintain regional stability. Sparta's military might and strategic acumen made it the natural leader of this league, which served as a counterbalance to the growing power of Athens and its Delian League. The Peloponnesian League played a crucial role in the geopolitical landscape of ancient Greece, facilitating cooperation among its members while preserving their autonomy. Sparta's leadership ensured that the League acted in concert during times of conflict, providing a united front against common enemies. This alliance not only expanded Spartan influence, but also cemented its reputation as the preeminent military power in Greece. The dynamics within the Peloponnesian League reflected the broader tensions between Sparta and Athens, two city-states with divergent values and aspirations. While Athens championed democracy and cultural innovation, Sparta remained steadfast in its commitment to martial discipline and oligarchic governance. These differences would eventually lead to a protracted conflict, the Peloponnesian War, which reshaped the course of Greek history. Meanwhile, in Athens, a series of economic and political reforms were underway, transforming the city-state into a beacon of democracy and cultural achievement. The catalyst for these changes was Solon, a wise and respected statesman appointed in 594 BCE to address Athens' growing economic woes. Solon's reforms focused on alleviating the debts of struggling farmers, abolishing the practice of using humans as collateral for loans, and freeing those who had become slaves due to debt. These measures aimed to stabilize the economy and prevent social unrest, laying the groundwork for future political transformations. Despite Solon's efforts, many underlying issues persisted, leading to the rise of the tyrant Pisistratus in 560 BCE. His rule, characterized by populist policies and support for trade, temporarily alleviated tensions but did not address the root causes of inequality. Upon his death, his son proved unpopular, and the Athenians overthrew the tyranny, paving the way for a new era of reform. Cleisthenes emerged as a pivotal figure in the Athenian Revolution of 508 BCE, introducing sweeping changes that restructured the political landscape. He established the Council of 500, a body representing various districts, tasked with financial administration and preparing issues for debate in the assembly. This assembly, composed of all male citizens, was empowered to discuss and vote on new laws, shifting the balance of power towards the people. Cleisthenes' reforms laid the foundation for Athenian democracy, a system that emphasized citizen participation and collective decision-making. This model of governance, based on the principles of equality and representation, became a cornerstone of Western political thought, influencing countless societies in the centuries to come. As Athens embraced democratic ideals, it also became a hub of cultural exchange and artistic innovation. The Greeks, through their interactions with neighboring civilizations, absorbed and adapted foreign influences, enriching their own cultural identity. Notably, contact with Egypt inspired the creation of large stone sculptures like the Kouros and Kor, which became prominent in regions such as Attica and Boeotia. These sculptures, characterized by their rigid posture and idealized forms, reflected the Greeks' fascination with youth, beauty, and divinity. The Kouros, depicting nude male youths, and the Kor, representing clothed female figures, were often dedicated to the gods, symbolizing the Greeks' reverence for the divine and their pursuit of artistic excellence. Greek art and architecture flourished during this period, as craftsmen and artists experimented with new styles and techniques. The influence of foreign myths and stories enriched Greek literature, leading to the creation of timeless works that continue to captivate audiences today. The cultural and political evolution of Greece unfolded against the backdrop of escalating tensions with the Persian Empire. The Greek city-states in Ionia, under Persian rule, revolted in 499 BCE with Athenian support, igniting a series of conflicts that would shape the destiny of Greece. The Persian Emperor Darius, seeking retribution for Athens' involvement, launched an invasion of the Greek mainland in 490 BCE, culminating in the Battle of Marathon. Despite being outnumbered, the Athenians, under the leadership of Miltiades, secured a decisive victory, demonstrating the effectiveness of their strategy and discipline. This triumph emboldened the Greeks and set the stage for future confrontations with the Persian Empire. In 480 BCE, Xerxes, Darius' successor, mounted a massive invasion force, determined to subjugate Greece once and for all. The Athenian general Themistocles, recognizing the strategic importance of naval power, convinced Athens to build a formidable fleet, which played a crucial role in the ensuing conflicts. As Xerxes' forces advanced through Greece, the Spartans, led by King Leonidas, made a valiant stand at the narrow pass of Thermopylae. Though ultimately overwhelmed, Leonidas and his 300 warriors became symbols of courage and sacrifice, inspiring the Greek resistance and uniting the city-states in their struggle against Persian domination. The story of Leonidas and his 300 Spartans has transcended the annals of history, becoming a timeless testament to the power of courage and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. At the Battle of Thermopylae, Leonidas led his small contingent of warriors against the vast Persian army, employing tactics that exploited the terrain's natural advantages. Despite being outnumbered, the Spartans held their ground, buying precious time for the Greek forces to regroup and strategize. The bravery displayed by Leonidas and his men resonated deeply with the Greek populace, reinforcing their resolve to defend their homeland. The sacrifice at Thermopylae became a rallying cry, inspiring unity among the often fractious Greek city-states. In the aftermath of the battle, Leonidas emerged as a cultural hero, his legacy immortalized in Greek mythology and literature. His leadership exemplified the Spartan ideal of selflessness and dedication to the state, a message that continues to resonate in modern times. The Battle of Thermopylae, though a tactical defeat, proved to be a strategic victory for Greece. It galvanized the Greek forces, leading to subsequent triumphs at Salamis and Plataea, which ultimately repelled the Persian invasion and secured Greek independence. As we reflect on the legacy of Leonidas and the 300 Spartans, we are reminded of the enduring power of courage, sacrifice, and unity in the face of adversity. Their story serves as a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the indomitable will to fight for what is just and true. In conclusion, the rich tapestry of Greek history is woven with tales of valor, innovation, and cultural exchange. From the disciplined society of Sparta to the democratic ideals of Athens, the legacy of ancient Greece continues to inspire and captivate. As we journey further into the annals of history, we will explore the complexities of Greek life and culture, delving deeper into the stories that have shaped our world. Amidst the ashes of a smoldering Athens, the heart of Greece pulsed with a defiant resolve. With nothing but their determination between the city and the Persian forces, the Athenians had made the painful decision to abandon their homes and watch as the city burned. Yet, this was not a sign of surrender, but rather a strategic retreat. The Greek navy, stationed off the coast of the island of Salamis to the south, stood ready to confront the Persian fleet. Much like the stand at Thermopylae, the Greeks used the geography to their advantage. The cramped straits around Salamis neutralized the Persian navy's numerical superiority, allowing the nimble Athenian triremes to excel in close combat. These agile ships, with their reinforced prows designed for ramming, turned the tide of battle. The Persian fleet, caught off guard and unable to maneuver effectively, suffered a crushing defeat. This victory was not merely tactical, it was pivotal. Xerxes, witnessing the disarray of his naval forces, realized the vulnerability of his position and chose to retreat. This marked a significant shift in the Greco-Persian wars, as the Greeks had not only defended their homeland, but had also managed to force a retreat of the mighty Persian army. The Battle of Salamis was more than just a battle. It was a symbol of Greek resilience and strategic ingenuity. Following their victory, Athens emerged as a beacon of hope and leadership among the Greek city-states. In 478 BCE, leveraging the looming threat of another Persian invasion, Athens spearheaded the formation of the Delian League. Initially conceived as a mutual defense alliance, the league was centered on the island of Delos, chosen for its neutral status. However, the leadership and direction of the league were distinctly Athenian. The league's mandate was clear: to liberate and defend Greek cities from Persian control. This mission saw the Athenian-led forces sweeping across the Aegean, reclaiming islands and cities that had fallen to Persian control. By 454 BCE, the league's treasury was moved from Delos to Athens, a move that signified a shift from an alliance of equals to an Athenian empire in all but name. Athens, now the epicenter of power, utilized the League's resources for its own grandeur, bolstering its economy and military might. This transformation was not without its tensions. Other Greek city-states began to view Athens with suspicion and resentment, as the Delian League increasingly resembled an Athenian hegemony. The period from 461 to 429 BCE heralded a golden era for Athens, known as the Age of Pericles. Pericles, a charismatic and visionary leader, expanded the democratic ideals of Athens, ushering in a period of unprecedented cultural and political development. Under his guidance, the Athenian assembly became the cornerstone of governance, inviting all male citizens over the age of 18 to debate and decide on key issues. This assembly was a direct democracy in its truest form, where the populace had the final say on foreign policy, military matters, and legislation. The Council of 500, known as the Boule, was responsible for the day-to-day administration. Chosen by lot, these council members served for 1 year, ensuring that most Athenian males had the opportunity to participate in governance. Pericles' introduction of state pay for public offices opened the doors for citizens from lower economic backgrounds to serve, promoting a more inclusive political system. However, this democracy was not without its flaws. Despite the advancements, the social fabric of Athens was still woven with inequalities. Women, slaves, and non-citizens were excluded from political participation, and the aristocracy continued to wield significant influence. Nonetheless, the cultural and intellectual renaissance that Athens experienced during this period was unparalleled. Pericles invested in the reconstruction of the Acropolis, using funds from the Delian League to adorn Athens with magnificent temples and sculptures, symbolizing the city's grandeur and influence. As Athens basked in its golden age, tensions simmered beneath the surface, threatening to engulf Greece in conflict. The rise of Athens and its dominance over the Delian League sowed of discord among other Greek city-states. Sparta, leading the Peloponnesian League and boasting the most formidable land army in Greece, felt increasingly threatened by Athenian naval supremacy. This rivalry culminated in the outbreak of the Peloponnesian War in 431 BCE. The war was a clash of titans, pitting Athens' naval strength against Sparta's land-based prowess. Pericles, understanding the futility of confronting Sparta on open ground, opted for a defensive strategy. The Athenians retreated behind their city walls, relying on their navy to maintain supply lines and sustain the city through maritime trade. However, the war took an unexpected turn when a devastating plague struck Athens in 430 BCE, claiming the lives of tens of thousands, including Pericles himself. This catastrophe weakened Athens significantly, yet the war dragged on for nearly 3 decades. The eventual downfall of Athens came in 405 BCE at the Battle of Agospotami, where the Athenian navy was decisively defeated. By 404 BCE, Athens was forced to surrender, its walls dismantled, and its empire in ruins. The Peloponnesian War left Greece fractured and exhausted, with no clear victor. The constant warfare eroded Greek unity and left the city-states vulnerable to external threats. In the power vacuum that followed, hegemony shifted unpredictably between Sparta, Athens, and even Thebes. Amidst this chaos, the Greeks failed to notice the rising power to the north, Macedonia. Yet, before delving into Macedonia's ascent, we must first explore the cultural achievements that defined classical Greece. The study of history as we know it today owes much to the pioneering works of Herodotus and Thucydides. Herodotus, often called the father of history, penned the first comprehensive historical text in the West, chronicling the Persian Wars, His narratives, though rich and vivid, were interwoven with myth and bias, presenting history as a tale of freedom versus tyranny. In contrast, Thucydides approached history with a critical eye, emphasizing accuracy and objectivity. A participant in the Peloponnesian War, Thucydides was exiled due to political machinations. During his exile, he composed his seminal work, The History of the Peloponnesian War. Thucydides' meticulous methodology, involving the verification of eyewitness accounts, set a new standard for historical inquiry. He viewed history as a cyclical pattern, where human nature ensured the recurrence of similar political scenarios. These early historians laid the foundation for the study of history, highlighting the importance of understanding the past to navigate the future. In the realm of art and culture, Greek drama emerged as a powerful medium for storytelling and societal reflection. Performed during religious festivals, these plays were a blend of entertainment and moral exploration, often delving into themes of human nature, fate, and morality. Among the pioneers of Greek tragedy was Aeschylus, revered as the father of tragedy. His trilogy, the Oresteia, explored themes of vengeance and justice, depicting the cycle of retribution in the aftermath of the Trojan War. Sophocles, another luminary of Greek theatre, crafted masterpieces like Oedipus the King and Antigone. These plays grappled with the complexities of free will and destiny, challenging audiences to ponder the limits of human agency. In Oedipus the King, the protagonist's attempts to defy fate only lead him to fulfill the prophecy, underscoring the inevitability of destiny. Antigone, on the other hand, examines the conflict between individual conscience and state law, as the titular character defies authority to honor her brother's memory. Through these dramas, Greek playwrights not only entertained, but also provoked thought and introspection among their audiences. As we conclude this chapter, we reflect on the enduring legacy of classical Greece. From strategic military victories to cultural and intellectual achievements, this era laid the groundwork for Western civilization. Yet, as the Greek city-states wrestled with their internal strife, a new power was quietly rising, poised to reshape the ancient world. In the next chapter, we will journey northward to explore the rise of Macedonia and its charismatic leader, Alexander the Great. The evolution of Greek tragedy is a testament to the rich tapestry of ancient Greek culture, which has left an indelible mark on the world of drama. In its earliest form, Greek tragedy explored simple moral dilemmas, often involving the will of the gods and human defiance. Aeschylus, one of the earliest tragedians, introduced the concept of dramatic conflict through works like the Oresteia, where themes of justice and vengeance were intricately woven. Sophocles, another towering figure, expanded on these themes, creating characters like Oedipus, who were caught in the web of fate and free will. Sophocles' tragedies often centered around the struggle between personal desires and societal expectations, reflecting the complexities of human nature. Euripides, considered the most innovative of the three, took Greek tragedy to new heights by introducing characters who exhibited more psychological depth and moral ambiguity. His works, such as Medea and the Bacchae, broke away from the traditional heroic ideal, presenting protagonists with human flaws and conflicting emotions. Euripides challenged societal norms and questioned the role of the gods, thereby pushing the boundaries of the genre. The thematic evolution of Greek tragedy from straightforward moral tales to complex explorations of human nature and morality is a testament to the intellectual curiosity of the ancient Greeks. These themes continue to resonate in contemporary media, where the struggle between fate and free will, the consequences of hubris, and the complexity of human emotions remains central to storytelling. While Greek tragedy delved into the depths of human suffering and the divine, Greek comedy emerged as a distinct genre that offered a lighter yet equally insightful perspective on society. Aristophanes, often hailed as the father of comedy, was a master of satire and political commentary. His plays, characterized by their biting wit and irreverence, provided a platform for critiquing societal norms and political events. In works like Lysistrata and The Clouds, Aristophanes used humor to address serious issues such as war, politics, and the role of women in society. Lysistrata, for instance, is a comedic tale of women withholding sexual privileges to force men to end the Peloponnesian War, highlighting both the absurdity and the tragedy of conflict. The influence of Aristophanes and Greek comedy can be seen in modern satire, where humor is used as a tool for political discourse and social critique. The ability to laugh at the follies of society while simultaneously provoking thought is a legacy that endures in contemporary media. The classical period of Greek art and architecture marked a significant transformation in the pursuit of beauty, symmetry, and balance. Greek artists sought to capture the idealized human form, emphasizing harmony and proportion. Sculptors like Polykleitos developed mathematical principles to achieve perfect proportions, resulting in statues that exuded grace and realism. The architecture of this era, epitomized by the Parthenon, reflected the Greeks' reverence for the divine and their pursuit of aesthetic perfection. The Parthenon, dedicated to Athena, stood as a symbol of Athenian democracy and cultural supremacy. Its Doric columns and intricate friezes celebrated the gods and heroes, while also serving as a testament to human achievement. Greek art and architecture not only celebrated the divine, but also played a crucial role in civic identity. Temples were not merely places of worship, but served as centers of community life, reflecting the values and aspirations of the people. The influence of Greek art on Western aesthetics is profound, with its emphasis on naturalism and ideal beauty continuing to inspire artists throughout history. The philosophical contributions of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the groundwork for Western thought and continue to shape our understanding of knowledge, governance, and society. Socrates, known for his Socratic method, sought to uncover truth through dialogue and questioning. He believed that knowledge was innate and could be accessed through introspection and reason. Socrates' unwavering commitment to truth and his willingness to challenge authority ultimately led to his trial and execution. Plato, a student of Socrates, expanded on his teacher's ideas and founded the Academy in Athens. His theory of forms posited that the material world was a shadow of a higher reality, accessible only through philosophical contemplation. In The Republic, Plato envisioned an ideal society governed by philosopher kings, where justice and wisdom prevailed. Aristotle, a student of Plato, took a more empirical approach, emphasizing observation and analysis. He believed that knowledge could be gained through sensory experience and systematic study. Aristotle's extensive writings on ethics, politics, and metaphysics laid the foundation for subsequent philosophical inquiry. His examination of different forms of government and advocacy for a constitutional model had a lasting impact on political theory. The philosophical legacy of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle endures, influencing fields as diverse as ethics, science, and politics. Their quest for understanding the world and humanity's place within it continues to inspire and challenge us. The sophists were itinerant teachers and intellectuals who played a controversial yet pivotal role in Greek society. They prioritized rhetoric and the art of persuasion, often to the chagrin of traditionalists who valued absolute truth. The sophists were instrumental in the development of critical thinking and debate, teaching young Athenians how to argue effectively and win public favor. Their emphasis on rhetoric over truth led to accusations of moral relativism and a perceived disregard for ethical standards. Despite the controversies, the sophists contributed significantly to education and intellectual discourse. Their influence can be seen in modern pedagogy, where critical thinking and effective communication are valued skills. The tension between tradition and innovation, as exemplified by the sophists, remains a relevant theme in contemporary debates on education. Religion permeated every aspect of life in classical Greece, providing a framework for understanding the world and humanity's place within it. The Greeks worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each with distinct personalities and domains. Religious festivals and rituals were integral to Greek culture, serving as communal celebrations of the divine. Temples, like the Parthenon, were architectural marvels that housed statues of the gods and served as centers of worship and civic life. Homer's epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey, helped organize and solidify Greek mythology, offering narratives that explored human struggles and divine interventions. The stories of gods and heroes were not only religious texts, but also cultural touchstones that shaped Greek identity and values. The intersection of religion and politics was evident in the use of oracles and the belief in divine favor as a justification for political decisions. The legacy of Greek mythology endures in modern storytelling, where themes of heroism, fate, and the human condition continue to captivate audiences. Greek philosophers approached the concept of governance with a critical eye, probing the nature of justice, power, and the ideal state. Plato's The Republic outlined a vision of a just society led by kings who governed for the benefit of all. His ideal society was hierarchical, with each class fulfilling its designated role for the greater good. Aristotle, in contrast, examined existing governments to determine what worked best for the most people. His pragmatic approach led him to advocate for a constitutional government that balanced the interests of different classes. The philosophical debates on governance, initiated by Plato and Aristotle, have had a profound impact on political theory and the development of democratic ideals. Their exploration of justice, citizenship, and the role of the state continues to inform contemporary discussions on governance. The perspectives on gender roles articulated by Plato and Aristotle reveal much about the cultural and societal norms of ancient Greece. Plato, in his ideal society, advocated for equal education for men and women, believing that both could contribute to the welfare of the state. This progressive stance was not widely accepted in Greek society, where women were often confined to domestic roles. Aristotle, on the other hand, viewed women as biologically inferior, a belief that reinforced gender inequality and shaped societal attitudes for centuries. The contrasting views of Plato and Aristotle on gender roles highlight the complexity of gender dynamics in ancient Greece. These ideas have had a lasting impact on Western gender norms and the evolution of feminist thought. The struggle for gender equality and the critique of traditional gender roles continue to be relevant issues in modern society. In conclusion, the classical period of Greek history was a time of remarkable intellectual and cultural achievement. The developments in tragedy and comedy, art and architecture, philosophy and governance, and religion and mythology have left an enduring legacy that continues to influence the modern world. As we move forward in our exploration of history, we turn our attention to the rise of Macedonia and the charismatic leader who would change the course of history, Alexander the Great. Life in ancient Greece was deeply intertwined with the divine, with each region often centering its daily existence around honoring its patron god or goddess. These deities were believed to influence everything from the harvest to the outcome of battles. Prominent among these gods were Artemis, Hephaestus, Hermes, Dionysus, and Hestia. Their worship was not just a matter of personal faith, but a community affair woven into the very fabric of Greek culture. Temples stood as grand symbols of devotion, serving as the focal points for worship and community gatherings. These structures were not just places of prayer, they were the heart of cultural and social life. Inside and around these temples, rituals were performed to appease the gods. Sacrifices were a common practice, with animals often being offered up on altars. The Greeks believed that the smoke from these sacrifices carried their pleas and gratitude to the heavens. Crops, too, could be burned as offerings, symbolizing the community's dependency on divine favor for their sustenance. Religious festivals were another integral aspect of Greek life, often involving processions, feasts, and athletic competitions. These festivals were not only acts of worship, but also times of social bonding and community celebration. Household altars, dedicated to a family's chosen deity, were common. These smaller personal shrines allowed individuals to maintain a direct connection with the divine, ensuring that the gods were a constant presence in their daily lives. Among the many religious practices of ancient Greece, none were as mysterious or influential as the consultations with oracles, particularly the oracle of Apollo at Delphi. This sacred site was considered the center of the world and attracted pilgrims from all corners of the Greek world. The Pythia, a priestess believed to be the mouthpiece of Apollo, would enter a trance-like state, during which she would utter prophecies that were often cryptic and open to interpretation. These pronouncements were then interpreted by priests who relayed them in verses. The influence of the Oracle of Delphi extended far beyond personal matters. City-states and rulers sought the oracle's guidance on matters of war, colonization, and governance. Decisions that shaped the course of history were often made based on these divine consultations. However, it is important to note that these prophecies were not purely mystical. Political motivations frequently influenced them, as the priests who interpreted the Pythia's words were not immune to the sway of personal and political agendas. A famous example of the oracle's influence is the case of Croesus, the wealthy king of Lydia. He was told that if he attacked Persia, he would destroy a great empire. Taking this as a favorable omen, he waged war, only to find that the empire destroyed was his own. Such stories highlight the complex and sometimes perilous nature of relying on oracles for guidance. One of the most vibrant expressions of Greek religious and cultural life was the Olympic Games. Held every 4 years in Olympia in honor of Zeus, these games were a unifying force in the Greek world. First held in 776 BCE, the Olympics brought together athletes from various city-states, fostering a sense of shared identity despite political rivalries. The events of the ancient Olympics were diverse and often perilous. The Stadion, a foot race, was the first and most prestigious event. Over time, other competitions such as wrestling, boxing, javelin, and discus were added. These games were not only physical contests, but also spiritual acts, as each victory was seen as a tribute to the gods. Winning athletes were celebrated as heroes, their achievements immortalized in statues and stories. However, the ancient games were not without their dangers. The rules were far less stringent than today, allowing for brutal tactics in combat sports. Boxers, for example, would wrap their hands in leather straps to increase the damage inflicted, leading to injuries and even deaths. Despite the inherent risks, the Olympics persisted for over a millennium, only ceasing in 393 CE, when the Christian Emperor Theodosius banned them as pagan rituals. The games lay dormant until their revival in 1896, when they fittingly began anew in Greece, echoing their ancient heritage. In classical Athens, societal structure was distinctly hierarchical and male-dominated. Citizenship was a privilege reserved for males who could participate in public life and democratic processes. This group, however, represented only a fraction of the total population, with the rest consisting of women, slaves, and foreign residents. Women in Athens had limited rights and were generally excluded from public life, though they could partake in certain religious festivals. Their primary role was domestic, focusing on managing the household and raising children. Marriages were often arranged at a young age, with girls marrying around 14 or 15 years old. This early marriage age reflected societal expectations that women quickly assumed their roles as wives and mothers. Education for girls was informal, focusing on domestic skills, though some were taught to read and play music. The economic backbone of Athens was agriculture and trade. The fertile land of Attica was insufficient to meet the city's grain needs, necessitating imports to sustain its population. Olive oil and wine were major exports, with the latter also being a staple in the Athenian diet. The daily life of an Athenian was simple, with meals typically consisting of bread, olives, and cheese. Homes were modestly furnished, and family units, while nuclear, often included extended relatives and household slaves. Slaves played crucial roles in both domestic settings and public works, contributing significantly to the city's economy and infrastructure. In ancient Greece, marriage was not just a personal relationship, but a social institution with significant implications for family and community structure. Marriages were typically arranged by families, with considerations of wealth, status, and alliances taking precedence over romantic inclinations. Women were expected to bring dowries into their marriages, which played a key role in these arrangements. The primary duty of a wife was to manage the household and bear children, particularly sons who would carry on the family lineage. Despite the lack of formal education, women were often skilled in domestic arts and occasionally in music and literacy. Family life centered around the oikos, or household, which was the basic economic and social unit of Greek society. The head of the household held significant authority, responsible for the family's welfare and representing the family in public affairs. Children played an important role in the family, with boys receiving formal education to prepare them for participation in civic life. Girls, on the other hand, were prepared for their future roles as wives and mothers. Despite the restrictive nature of gender roles, family life was a source of stability and continuity in the ever-changing landscape of Greek society. In Athens, homosexual relationships, particularly between older men and younger males, were not only accepted, but also woven into the social fabric as a form of mentorship and education. These relationships, known as pederasty, were seen as a rite of passage for young men, providing them with guidance and knowledge from more experienced members of society. The older partner, known as the erastes, acted as a mentor, while the younger, the eromenos, was a student. This dynamic was not merely physical, but also intellectual, with the elder imparting wisdom and cultural knowledge to the younger. Such relationships were considered a vital part of a young man's education, preparing him for adult responsibilities. While these relationships were generally accepted, they were expected to be conducted with decorum and within certain societal boundaries. The emphasis was on the educational and emotional aspects, with the physical component being secondary. In this way, Athenian society integrated personal relationships into its educational system, reflecting the interconnectedness of personal and communal life. In the aftermath of the Peloponnesian War, the Greek world was left fragmented and weakened, paving the way for the rise of Macedonia under Philip II. Despite being viewed as outsiders by the southern Greeks, the Macedonians shared cultural ties with the Hellenic world. Philip II, who ascended to the throne in 359 BCE, transformed Macedonia into a formidable military power through innovative reforms. He reorganized the army, introducing the phalanx formation and emphasizing the use of cavalry. These changes enabled him to expand Macedonian influence across Greece. Philip's ambitions extended beyond Macedonian borders as he sought to unify the Greek city-states under his rule. This was achieved through a combination of diplomacy and military might, culminating in the formation of the League of Corinth. This alliance marked a turning point in Greek history, as it set the stage for an unprecedented campaign against Persia. However, Philip's vision was cut short by his assassination in 336 BCE, leaving his son Alexander to inherit both the throne and the dream of conquest. At just 20 years old, Alexander the Great succeeded his father, Philip II, and embarked on a campaign that would reshape the ancient world. His early experiences, including leading cavalry at the Battle of Chaeronea, prepared him for the task ahead. Alexander quickly asserted his authority by quelling rebellions in Greece and securing his northern borders. With these challenges addressed, he turned his attention eastward toward the Persian Empire. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed into Asia Minor with a well-trained force of approximately 40 Saracen men. His army was built around the Macedonian phalanx, a formidable infantry formation supported by highly mobile cavalry units. The first major engagement against the Persians occurred at the Battle of the Granicus. Despite facing a larger force, Alexander's strategic acumen and the discipline of his troops secured a decisive victory. This triumph opened the path into Asia, allowing Alexander to continue his campaign with momentum. His subsequent victories at Issus and along the Mediterranean coast showcased his ability to adapt to diverse battle conditions and effectively utilize his forces. These successes not only expanded his empire, but also cemented his reputation as one of history's greatest military leaders. Alexander's conquests extended beyond mere territorial gains. His encounters with diverse cultures and traditions during his campaigns left a lasting impact on the regions he conquered, blending Greek and local customs in a process known as Hellenization. This cultural diffusion would have profound effects on the development of the ancient world, influencing art, architecture, language, and governance across a vast expanse. As Alexander continued his march through Asia, he encountered both triumphs and challenges, each contributing to the legend of a leader whose ambitions knew no bounds. The story of Alexander's conquests is one of both human achievement and the complexities of power, offering lessons that resonate through history. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into the legacy of Alexander's empire and the world he left behind, exploring the profound changes that followed his untimely death and the enduring influence of his extraordinary life. The meteoric rise of Alexander the Great began with a series of audacious military campaigns that forever altered the ancient world. From the moment he ascended to the Macedonian throne, Alexander set his sights on the vast and wealthy Persian Empire. His vision was not only one of conquest, but of cultural integration, where Greek ideals and Eastern traditions could coexist and flourish. His first major triumph came with the founding of Alexandria in Egypt. This city was not just a symbol of his military prowess, but also a beacon of cultural synthesis. Alexandria quickly grew into a significant urban center, attracting scholars, artists, and traders from across the known world. The city embodied Alexander's ambition to merge Greek and Eastern cultures, serving as a melting pot where diverse ideas could intermingle. In 331 BCE, Alexander's quest continued as he moved eastward into Mesopotamia, where he faced the formidable Persian forces at the Battle of Gaugamela. This decisive victory showcased his strategic genius and opened the gates to key Persian cities such as Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis. The capture of these cities marked the downfall of the Achaemenid Empire and the rise of a new era under Macedonian rule. Alexander was not just a conqueror, he was a catalyst for cultural transformation. His personal influence and strategic marriages with Eastern nobility paved the way for a blending of traditions, languages, and customs. His legacy was not just an empire of territories, but an empire of ideas. Alexander's insatiable ambition drove him further east, into the lands of present-day Pakistan and India. His arrival in India marked one of the most challenging phases of his campaigns, culminating in the Battle of the Hydaspes River against King Porus. Despite the fierce resistance, Alexander emerged victorious, adding the Punjab region to his expanding empire. However, the Indian campaigns tested both the limits of his army and his dreams of perpetual conquest. The soldiers, weary from years of continuous warfare and far from home, began to question the purpose of their endless march. Their refusal to advance further into the Indian subcontinent was a turning point, forcing Alexander to reconsider his future plans. The logistical challenges of maintaining a vast and diverse empire became apparent, highlighting the practical constraints of his grand vision. The journey back to Babylon was fraught with hardships, particularly the treacherous march across the Gedrosian desert, where thousands perished. This grueling expedition underscored the difficulties of sustaining an empire that spanned continents. Despite these setbacks, the cultural exchanges initiated by Alexander's Indian campaigns left a lasting impact, fostering connections between East and West that would endure for centuries. Alexander's leadership style was a complex blend of charisma, military genius, and personal flaws. He was revered for his ability to inspire his troops and outmaneuver formidable adversaries. However, his leadership was not without its shortcomings. His temper was notorious, leading to impulsive decisions and moments of violence, such as the killing of his own general in a fit of rage. Alexander's admiration for heroic figures like Heracles and Achilles shaped his approach to leadership. He saw himself as a living embodiment of these legendary heroes, emphasizing bravery and martial prowess over administrative acumen. This focus on conquest over governance became evident as he continued to plan new campaigns. Even after defeating the Persian Empire, his untimely death at the age of 32 left a power vacuum that would unravel the empire he had painstakingly built. Alexander's legacy, however, transcended his military achievements. His campaigns ushered in the Hellenistic era, characterized by the widespread dissemination of Greek culture across the Middle East and beyond. The fusion of Greek and Eastern traditions gave rise to a vibrant cultural landscape where art, philosophy, and science flourished. Though his empire fragmented after his death, the seeds of cultural synthesis he planted continued to grow, shaping the course of history in profound ways. The Hellenistic era, born from the ashes of Alexander's empire, was a period of extraordinary cultural fusion and intellectual flourishing. The spread of Greek culture across the regions Alexander had conquered created a tapestry of diverse influences that enriched societies from Egypt to India. Greek intellectuals and artisans flocked to these lands, bringing with them the philosophies, art, and scientific knowledge of the Hellenic world. This cross-pollination of ideas led to remarkable advancements in various fields, from astronomy to medicine. The decline of the traditional polis system gave way to new forms of governance, as monarchies replaced city-states. Hellenistic cities became centers of learning and commerce, where diverse populations coexisted and collaborated. The artistic expressions of the period reflected this cultural synthesis, blending Greek styles with Eastern motifs to create innovative works that celebrated the unity of human experience. Philosophers of the time grappled with questions of identity and ethics in a world where cultures converged and diverged. The Hellenistic era was a testament to the enduring power of cultural exchange, demonstrating that the blending of traditions could lead to a richer and more vibrant society. One of the lasting legacies of Alexander's conquests was the foundation of new cities that became the lifeblood of the Hellenistic world. These urban centers were strategically located to facilitate trade, governance, and cultural exchange. They served as administrative hubs, where Greek and local officials worked together to manage vast territories. The architecture and urban planning of these cities reflected a blend of Greek and Eastern influences, with grand structures and public spaces that fostered community engagement. Cities like Alexandria and Antioch became renowned for their libraries, where scholars from different backgrounds gathered to share knowledge and ideas. These cities were not just centers of power, but also melting pots of cultural diversity, where people from different regions and traditions coexisted and interacted. The legacy of these Hellenistic cities can still be seen today in modern urban centers that continue to thrive on the principles of cultural integration and exchange. As the Hellenistic world evolved, these cities remained pivotal in connecting the East and West, laying the groundwork for future civilizations to build upon. In conclusion, Alexander the Great's conquests and the subsequent Hellenistic era transformed the ancient world in ways that continue to resonate today. His vision of cultural integration and the legacy of the cities he founded paved the way for a new age of enlightenment and exchange. As we transition to the next chapter, we will explore the enduring impact of the Hellenistic world and the lessons it offers for our understanding of cultural synthesis and coexistence. In the dynamic world of Hellenistic Egypt, royal women played pivotal roles that transcended traditional domestic spheres. These women, particularly those in the Ptolemaic dynasty, wielded significant power and influence, often through strategic marriage alliances. The concept of marriage within the royal family was not merely a matter of tradition, but a calculated political maneuver to consolidate power. The Ptolemaic pharaohs, following the example set by Alexander the Great and his mother, frequently married their sisters. This practice was not only a reaffirmation of their divine status, but also a means to ensure the purity of the royal lineage. One of the most notable figures was Arsinoe II, who married her brother Ptolemy II. Together they were worshipped as gods, and Arsinoe's influence extended beyond the palace walls. She was instrumental in expanding the Egyptian navy, a testament to her strategic acumen, and her image graced Egyptian coins, marking her as the first queen to achieve such an honor. The influence of Ptolemaic queens was not an isolated phenomenon. In various ancient cultures, women in royal families often played crucial roles, albeit with varying degrees of visibility and power, in contrast to the relatively constrained roles of women in classical Athens. Hellenistic queens could exercise significant authority in religious and state affairs. Their involvement in religious practices was particularly pronounced, with many queens serving as priestesses or patrons of temples, further cementing their status and influence. The cultural landscape of the Hellenistic world was profoundly shaped by the rise of Alexandria as a hub of literature and learning. The city, founded by Alexander the Great, became a beacon for writers, scholars, and poets from across the Mediterranean. Central to this intellectual blossoming was the Library of Alexandria, a monumental repository of knowledge that housed anywhere from 40,000 to 400,000 scrolls. This library was not just a collection of texts, but a center of scholarly activity that attracted the brightest minds of the era. Among these luminaries was Theocritus, a native of Sicily known for his pastoral poetry. His works celebrated the beauty of nature and the simplicity of rural life, creating a new genre that resonated with audiences across the Hellenistic world. This period also saw the flourishing of a vibrant literary culture in Alexandria, where poets and scholars gathered to exchange ideas and create works that would shape the literary canon. The influence of Hellenistic literature extended beyond Alexandria, with Greek becoming the lingua franca of the Eastern Mediterranean. This facilitated the spread of literary and scholarly works, enabling ideas to travel across cultures and regions, thus fostering a shared intellectual heritage. While the political significance of Greece waned during the Hellenistic era, Athens retained its status as a cultural epicenter, particularly in the realm of theatre. The evolution of Greek theatre during this period marked a departure from the classical tragedies of the past. New comedy, less political and more focused on domestic and everyday themes, emerged as a dominant form. This shift reflected broader changes in society, as audiences sought entertainment that resonated with their personal experiences. Menander, one of the most celebrated playwrights of new comedy, captured the nuances of human behavior and social dynamics with wit and insight. Although only one of his plays survives in its entirety, his influence is evident in the works of later Roman playwrights and beyond. The societal role of theatre in the Hellenistic era extended beyond entertainment. Theatre was a space for communal gathering and reflection, where audiences could engage with themes of identity, morality, and the human condition. Despite Greece's diminished political clout, its cultural contributions continued to shape the Hellenistic world and beyond. The Hellenistic period was marked by significant advancements in architecture and art. Monarchs and wealthy patrons across the Mediterranean commissioned new buildings that adhered to the classical Greek style. These constructions included gymnasiums, theatres, and temples, which dotted the landscapes of cities from the Near East to the far reaches of the Hellenistic world. In addition to architecture, sculpture experienced a diversification of subjects and styles. While the classical Greek aesthetic continued to influence artistic production, the Hellenistic era saw a departure from the idealized forms of the classical period. Artists began to explore a wider range of subjects, including everyday scenes and emotions, leading to more naturalistic and expressive works. The influence of Greek art and architecture extended into the Near East, where local artists adopted and adapted Greek styles to create a distinctive Hellenistic aesthetic. This cultural exchange enriched the artistic traditions of the region and contributed to the development of a unique Hellenistic culture. The Hellenistic period was a time of remarkable scientific and mathematical advancements. Scholars in Alexandria and other centers of learning made significant contributions to fields that laid the groundwork for future scientific progress. One of the most notable achievements was the separation of science from philosophy. Greek science, particularly in astronomy, saw groundbreaking developments under the guidance of scholars like Aristarchus and Eratosthenes. Aristarchus proposed the first heliocentric model of the universe, challenging the prevailing geocentric view and laying the foundation for future astronomical discoveries. Eratosthenes, who became the chief librarian at the Library of Alexandria, made significant contributions to geography. He is credited with calculating the Earth's circumference with remarkable accuracy, earning him the title of the father of geography. Euclid, another prominent Alexandrian scholar, made lasting contributions to mathematics. His work Elements became a foundational text in geometry, influencing mathematical thought for centuries. Perhaps the most famous Hellenistic scientist was Archimedes, who excelled in various scientific disciplines. His work in geometry, including an approximation of pi, and his inventions, such as the Archimedes screw, demonstrated his ingenuity and impact. Archimedes' contributions to science and mathematics have cemented his legacy as one of history's greatest minds. The Hellenistic era was a time of philosophical exploration and the emergence of new schools of thought. In Athens, the legacy of Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle continued to inspire new philosophical movements. Epicureanism, founded by Epicurus, emphasized the pursuit of personal happiness and freedom from life's troubles. Although often misconstrued as hedonistic, Epicureanism originally advocated for a life of simplicity and contemplation, free from political and public affairs. Stoicism, another influential school of thought, was founded by Zeno of Citium. Unlike the Epicureans, Stoics believed in engaging with society and politics while maintaining inner peace. This philosophy emphasized the importance of resilience and emotional fortitude, ideals that resonated with many and contributed to its widespread popularity. The philosophical landscape of the Hellenistic era reflected a shift from collective to personal happiness, as individuals sought meaning and fulfillment in an increasingly diverse and interconnected world. The Hellenistic period witnessed the decline of classical Greek religion and the rise of mystery cults. As Greek culture mingled with Eastern beliefs, new religious practices emerged, offering spiritual experiences and promises of salvation. Mystery cults, characterized by secretive initiation rituals and ceremonies, gained popularity during this period. The Eleusinian mysteries, dedicated to Demeter and Persephone, were among the most famous of these cults attracting initiates seeking spiritual transformation. In Egypt, the mysteries of Isis became a prominent religious movement. Isis, revered as a goddess of healing and magic, offered initiates the promise of a heavenly afterlife. The rituals and beliefs of these cults reflected a shift towards more personal and intimate forms of spirituality, a trend that would continue into the Roman era and influence later religious developments. The Hellenistic period was characterized by cultural syncretism, as Greek and local cultures intermingled to create a unique Hellenistic identity. This blending of traditions and beliefs had a profound impact on society, religion, and daily life. Examples of cultural fusion abounded, from the adoption of Greek artistic styles in the Near East to the incorporation of Eastern religious practices into Greek rituals. This cultural exchange enriched the Hellenistic world, fostering an environment of diversity and innovation. The legacy of Hellenistic culture persisted long after the period ended, influencing governance, law, and cultural practices in subsequent eras. This period of cultural synthesis serves as a testament to the enduring power of collaboration and exchange in shaping human history.